Jason. Thank you so much for coming on Rappahannock Radio this evening.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. Excited.
So today you're going to give us a special window into your world, right? Literally, we're going to go walking through your studio.
Yeah, that's a terrifying thought. So come along, though. We're going to actually,
Tell us really quick, though, how long have you been doing this for?
I started seriously wood turning going on 7 years now, I guess. I've always worked with wood. I've been a carpenter for over 20 years now. I guess a lot of it
so that
just
made
started...
it easy to jump into working with it?
Yeah, sorry, I just got to get used to this delay. Okay, so yeah, I guess the wood turning part of it started a couple, 6 or 7 years ago. I was working with hand planes and hand tools a whole lot, doing my carpentry work for a lot of finished stuff like trim work and etc. So I wanted to start fixing up the antique tools. And part of that was I wanted to start fixing up chisels and turning new handles for them. See, older chisels have better steel and they hold an edge better, but you get them a lot of times and the handles are disintegrated. So I got a little small lathe my dad got me, and I started just making handles for everything. And, after I'd made about 1,000 handles, my dad finally said to me, why don't you try to make a bowl or something else? And, that's how it started.
So your art literally came out of a necessity to to utilize more tools.
Yeah, exactly. I like old tools. So I guess you could call it hybrid woodworking, where some people like Roy Underhill or Paul Sellers or some of those other guys, they do all their work building a whole piece of furniture with no power tools. So that would be called traditional woodworking versus, I guess, modern woodworking where you're using power tools. But I've always liked incorporating both because you can definitely get a finer touch working certain things by hand than with machinery that has room for error.
Right. Yeah, sure. And so they both have their purposes.
Hey, Levi,
let me ask you this. Have you apprenticed with anybody, or are you completely self-taught?
Or left. Oh, sorry, have I apprenticed with anyone? No, just...
Yeah, are you completely self-taught? Is this...
As far as wood turning goes, yes, I'm self-taught. But working with wood, I've had the honor of working with a lot of great craftsmen from Rappahannock County here, who doing custom homes and stuff. I've really learned a lot. And then once you learn how to cut and shape wood, you can apply it in any way. And I guess I've always been artistic, whether it being drawing or painting. I had a short time where I was trying to do tattoos for a while. I used to play drums in a band, and then I guess, this is just another form of art applied to wood, which I was already working with every day. I guess, starting around the holidays and stuff, I would try to make people little gifts and stuff like that. And then, started focusing more and more on making stuff seriously, and here we are. So I got this cool chisel here.
So what do you have? Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that or not.
Further away.
It's made of pine cones.
I can see it, yeah. Can you turn it a little bit?
Yeah, I'm not used to this camera.
That camera's really throwing you off. Very nice. All right, let's take us into your world. Let's see. I'm excited.
Okay, cool. So I guess...
What do you want to show first?
I guess we're going to go into the room over here with all the stuff in it. Okay. So I have no idea. What do you want to see? Here's some cool stuff. Maybe do
start out with some of your earlier pieces. Take us.
Okay. Some earlier pieces. See, I sell stuff all the time, so most of my earlier
Did you sell
pieces
most
are
of them?
gone. But you can start with some of these basic pieces. Everything in my shop too has some authentic.
And show us a recent piece. Yeah.
Jason Goldman man glitter on it. So this is a piece of butternut.
Is that what you call dust?
Yeah, my sawdust. It's hard to keep it out of this room. It's a never-ending battle. Recently, I've been enjoying painting.
What's your favorite wood to work with?
Probably ash. Domestically, it's pretty underrated. People, don't appreciate ash, but it dyes very well. It stays very stable. It turns really good. Let's see if I can find a cool piece of ash. Here's a nice piece of spalted ash right here.
Why do you say people don't appreciate ash? What is it about ash that people don't really? I don't know much, about.
It's just not
the
one
different
of the more
types of wood, other than
woods
what I like to look at as a tree.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think most people think of your traditional, more popular woods like walnut or maple, domestically here. But there's a lot of other great species out here. People think often like oak is boring too, or ash, but it can have some great figure in it. Like here's some really nice pieces of oak that are highly figured. So it's not just your regular old boring old oak flooring or oak bookcase there.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. So you said you've been getting into painting on the pieces?
Yeah, so I like bright colors and stuff that looks like it's from the 80s, and I like to try to incorporate that too sometimes. So here's a cool piece. Kind of 80s.
Very nice.
And then here's another new piece. This is some cypress with some silhouettes of trees on it.
What kind of paint are you using?
Those are all oil-based paint markers. But I also use a whole bunch of other products like alcohol ink and airbrush paint. I've just started getting into airbrushing. I don't really have anything too cool to show yet. Actually, here's my first ever airbrush painting right here. So I tried that one.
Oh, nice. Do you have to seal the pieces with something after you put paint on them?
Yeah. The paint pieces I seal with lacquer, and all my other bowls and stuff like that are all done with either shellac type friction polish, which I apply while it's spinning on the lathe, or a food safe mineral oil and beeswax mixture.
Right, depending on what you're using it for, like if it's a bowl or something. People are your bowls like functional or totally ornamental? Like, I mean, I know that's an odd question because as an artist, you're like, no, I don't want anybody eating out of them. But I know a while back you made some chalices, right? I mean, were those to be used as actual Valentine's Day chalices?
Those are actually, I guess, egg cups for eating soft-boiled eggs, I believe.
Cool.
That was a custom order for a customer, special request. So I actually just finished the last egg cup today. It's right here next to me. So I've made a set of 4 of them. Here's one that is spalted tamarind, which is an exotic species, and the heart is inlaid with real crushed turquoise.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Here's a...
But so it is safe to put food in it, like when you said you use the beeswax cover.
Yeah, that actually has a shellac finish on it, which is also a natural wax kind of thing. So, and also any finish becomes food safe once it's fully cured. it becomes inert.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
It's just easier to maintain a bowl that has a oil and wax finish on it versus one of the other ones that has the shellac-based friction polish on it, because that polish will dull over time, where the wax and oil bowls will season more if you maintain and apply wax as you use it and clean it. Like a cast iron skillet, it'll get better over time. So the way I choose to do a finish is what I think the final outcome is going to be, and if it's going to be useful or not. Like this piece of camphor wood right here is beautiful, and it does have a food safe wax finish on it, but it's full of holes, so you obviously wouldn't serve salad out of it. So they could go either way. You could keep fruit in it, or you could just kind of, keep it as a nice piece on a table somewhere to look at.
What kind of different commissions have you done for people? Like what do people usually, are they asking for bowls? Are they asking for cutting boards? I know you're making earrings now.
I do everything. I've made several burial urns for humans and for pets. That's popular. Also burial boxes. One of my first cool commissions was from Fauquier County Historical Society, the old elm tree that was on Main Street in Warrenton in front of the courthouse. When that was taken down a few years ago, they gave me a large section of that tree, and I ended up making all kinds of bowls and keychains and all kinds of things for them to sell in their gift shop to raise money for them.
Wow, that's a pretty cool setup. So you got wood in return for making all these items.
Yeah, exactly. So I got to keep some of the wood, but it was basically I was kind of donating my time to help them raise some money.
Right. Does that happen a lot? Like, will people be like, well, if you make this for me, I'll give you, I've got these trees on my property. And I mean, how does that work? Has that happened to you before?
Yeah, it happens all the time. People always try to, a lot of people just donate wood to me that's down on their properties and stuff. And most people don't ask for anything in return. Sometimes people will bring me special wood and ask me to make some keepsakes from it. One of the things that makes me slightly different than other wood turners is that when I started turning handles and stuff, I was using dried lumber. Most wood turners that turn bowls and stuff turn the lumber when it's green or still wet. But I don't like doing that. That's not the way I taught myself. Because when you get into turning green lumber, you can take it two ways. You can do what's called half turning, where you will turn the bowl rough an inch thick, and then you'll just let it sit for a couple of months and continue to dry, and it'll get all warped, and then you can finish it. But I like to finish a project right away and not give it a chance to go get super wonky on me unless that's kind of what I'm going for. So I like to use dried lumber. So I have several buildings on this farm where my shop is that I store logs for years at a time before I use them. So when people bring me a piece,
so let them cure it.
it's
Show us
usually
something really
green lumber.
wonky.
I try to wait.
Used to see something really wonky.
Oh, you want to see something really wonky? Yeah, here you go. Where's that crazy cherry bowl thing at? That was the wonkiest piece I have. I think somebody might have bought it. I'm looking for it. Here's one. See, I turned this piece of cherry when it was soaking wet, and it was completely perfectly round, and now look at what it's done.
Oh, it like kept growing, sort of. It warped.
See, wood shrinks as it dries, so it kind of like turns into a football shape. Here's another one I did that was slightly green, and it kind of just got a cool raised part to the rim of it, and they all kind of go kind of oval if you turn them green. But this is a nice big salad bowl here.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
As far
Now,
as
Jason,
half turns,
so with your art, with your artistry, have you are you like trying to build it to a point where you wouldn't still having to be a carpenter, like still having to do that, or you want to keep doing that, or do you like, what is your goal with your art other than to just keep creating?
Yeah, I'm going to continue to be a carpenter for a while until I can build this up to where I can take my tool belt off, definitely. I've been doing carpentry work over 20 years, and I still enjoy it a lot, but I have a passion for this.
Yeah. Do you think that eventually you would have like, do you do tours of your studio, or are we like the first people that, I mean, you've done the fall art tour, right, with RAAC?
That's right. I've done it 2 years now. The first year I was a guest at my neighbor's studio, and then this past year I had my studio open.
Did you like that?
I can give you a tour, though.
Yeah, you can give us a tour.
let me
I guess what I'm wondering is, so like, would you consider not just taking commissions or selling pieces that you have, but like actually hosting classes, like courses? Do you want to teach people?
So I do take students. I actually received the Claudia Mitchell Fund grant last year from RAAC for my giving lessons to students, mainly children. But I do teach people of all age when I have time. And it's
How does
usually
it work
one-on-one.
with teaching kids? Like, what ages do you? Okay.
So the youngest I've taught is 7. I don't teach traditional wood turning per se. I kind of have this joke. It's called Build a Bowl with Jason. So you come in and I will give you simpler tools to use and help you turn a bowl yourself your first time. Whereas if you were to take classes or study somewhere, you would have to really start out in the basics of just turning a little stick with some decoration on it or something. You wouldn't move up to a bowl for probably a long time. But I have a pretty good technique down, and pretty much anyone with my help can turn a bowl in a day.
That's a pretty awesome selling point.
It's a lot of fun.
Do you find that the kids really love it, and they...
Yeah, they tell their friends, and then they come back the next weekend or whenever I'm available. Sometimes I'll do families with, 3 or 4 kids. So it usually takes about 2 hours, 2 or 3, depending on how much progress we make. So sometimes I'll try to squeeze in a whole family in a day.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. Right? Do you feel like, how do you feel about being a teacher? Do you like teaching?
Yeah, I think it's part of my personality. I always like to try to gain knowledge and then share knowledge. Even if people aren't interested in it, I'll still try to tell them. So
now,
you
you guys, so I'm just going to call out Levi here for a second. Yeah, and I totally want to see. But so you guys have made a documentary, right? On your work?
We started one before COVID, and mainly it was when I actually had a broken arm and I was still turning. So I think we did some footage of that too. And then COVID came, and we've kind of taken a break from it for a little while.
Put it on hold?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But you guys are making a documentary about your work.
Yes. Yeah, so it'll be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's awesome.
Let's go over here.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that. That's exciting.
So this is where the magic happens. I'm super excited because I just added this extra 2-foot extension onto my lathe here. And it was so cool I had to paint flames on it. So it's kind of like a hot rod now. Or it looks like maybe like Wile E. Coyote's rocket or something like that would strap to it. So yeah, I use.
You got a great sense of humor. I
tools.
can see how it would be fun to have you as a teacher.
Yeah, it is fun. Challenging too sometimes, though.
Show us some of the different tools.
So 90% of the time, I use this to make my bowls and stuff. This is a 1/2 inch, or actually a 5/8 bowl gouge. And this is a tool that takes skill to learn how to use. It's all about how you hold the tool to the wood, keeping the correct angle, because you can have this dig into the wood and have what's called a catch, and the wood can fly apart and hurt you or other people in the room. This is another tool I use. This is a carbide scraper, and you can also turn a bowl with this tool. I also have a round-shaped cutter head on the end, so this is just a replaceable piece of carbide right here instead of having to sharpen it. But they both work great.
Are those some of the most basic, like, what? Show us some of the tools that, like, if you were just starting out on, you might use. Like, go from beginner to like intermediate.
Okay, well, your beginner tools are all spindle tools. Spindle, think of like chair legs or stair parts. So you have basically almost like a bowl gouge, but they have a different flute shape to them, and you would use them in a different orientation. So that's your basics. And then a lot of people these days do start with carbide tools. Some of the cooler ones these are my hollowing tools. So these are hooks so that I can get inside through the small top of a vase and then go through the neck into the body and hollow it out. So usually what I'll do is I'll take this thing down and it attaches onto the lathe, and then the wheels go around the vase, and then I'll come here on this tool rest here like this, and I can work in and hollow it blindly, and it's by feel.
Do you have anything that you're working on right now that you can give us, like a little demonstration without something being too loud for the camera?
Not really set up right now, but maybe next time. Not really set up right now, but maybe next.
Okay, fair enough.
I can show you some other cool stuff though.
All right, what's next?
What's next? So this is where you'll find me at 3 a.m. I'm usually hanging out here in this is my office. So this is where I have all my hand carving tools. And usually I'll take a piece that I'm working on that's almost done or something, and I can do all my embellishing here. This is also where I paint. On this wall you can't see, it's covered in paint and stuff like that. Yeah, there you go, paint and airbrush.
How are you finding enough time in the day then, if you're saying you're up till 3 a.m. at least, and then you got to get up at like 5 to be working on a construction job?
Yeah, so, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I basically work. I usually work until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon during the week for my day job. And then I'll come into the shop weekdays and usually work till about 6:30. So, just to try to finish up things or make a little progress. And then I go home and, have dinner and watch a movie with my girlfriend and stuff like that. But, Friday night, Saturday night, I usually work pretty hard on the weekends in the shop here trying to get things done. And then I usually work a pretty good day on Sunday too.
Nice. Yeah, you really are burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah, you got to work hard if you want something. And, I am trying to take that tool belt off. So.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have a goal, like a year or two, or it's something in mind where you feel like you would be able to do that or you could do that?
I think one of the things is I like the crew of people that I work with. And if I were to leave, then I would be leaving them hanging. So I think I'm probably just going to stick around as long as we're still doing that together. And then if, somebody retires or things, stop happening with that, then I don't think I would just take another carpentry job. I think that I would do this full time. And then if I needed to make some extra bucks, I would probably just do some side jobs for carpentry style work if people wanted it.
What kind of different projects have you worked on as a carpenter?
I worked for Kryling Construction, Peter Kryling, for well over 10 years up until he retired, building custom homes in Rappahannock County. And then recently I worked on the big renovation of Mount Prospect in Little Washington, which I worked on for 3 years, doing all the trim work in that house. And then I went on to build another large house for 2 years in Wolftown, Virginia. And now I'm back here in Rappahannock County, just doing a lot of remodeling jobs right now.
Now, Jason, are you originally from Rappahannock? Did you grow up here?
I grew up in Warrenton, but I had some friends who all lived out here, and I would always come out here and hang out on the weekends when I was in high school with all those people. And then when I graduated, I moved out here and started working for Peter. And then I moved out here full time. So I've been out here for maybe 22 years now, maybe 20, I'm not sure. And I guess I've lived here longer than anywhere else I've ever lived, though.
What's your take on Rappahannock?
I fell in love with it as soon as I came here. All the people, the kind of agrarian meets bohemian culture that you have here, and then the beautiful mountains.
Yeah, it's definitely, even though like Warrenton is right there, it's just a stone throws away. It's like, it's still like we're deeper in the mountains than Fauquier County is, it feels like, at least driving from it. Right. Tell me a little bit about how you grew up. Like, I want to know more about you. We've learned about you as an artist. I want to know a little bit more about you as a person.
I don't know. Grew up in Warrenton, basically. I grew up in Centerville originally, and then moved to Warrenton maybe in 6th grade, before Warrenton even blew up at all. It was still just a small town. And I was a little skateboarder kid and would, skate all over town all day. And then I discovered punk rock and started playing the drums. And I spent a good amount of time playing in punk rock bands, playing shows up and down the East Coast. And then my best friend, who was the guitarist for one of my bands, passed away suddenly, and that kind of put a damper on things for a while. I didn't play for a long time, and I just worked and, focused on life, and then had another short stint in a band for a while, and then basically just my desire, I guess my outlet has become this instead now.
Where it used to be playing music and playing the drums. Do you still have your drum set?
Yeah, it's down the road at my friend Gordon's house right now, but yeah, it still exists. I've seen you play the drums before.
Is that Gordon? I think I know Gordon.
Yeah,
I have
Gordon.
played the drums. Yeah, you remember. Yeah, little Gordon.
Yeah, I remember one time it was after that Larry Keel show at Smokehouse Winery, and I guess the mead place or whatever, and then everybody went inside because it was raining or something, and you were playing with Smiggy and maybe Noah's dad or somebody. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
My dad, yeah. My dad and Dantes and Smiggy. And I'm not sure if Terry was playing the bass there or not. I don't know if he had come back around yet. But no, I don't think I got the privilege to play the drums with Terry on the bass. But yeah, we definitely, I remember seeing you in some music circles, and we both were like big Brood Rock and Daycare Swindlers fans. So I saw you around in some of those spots.
Yeah, that's kind of how I came out here too, was because I was roommates with Stevie, the guitarist for Swindlers, for 6 or so years until he had a kid.
Okay. Nice. Well, thank you for sharing that and a little bit of your past and a little bit of the sorrow there, but also the good times and the good memories, I'm sure. Any do you have any of that music out there that people, if somebody wants to dig, if I want to go dig, what's the name of the band? Of the bands?
Yeah, my first real band was called the U.S. Agents, and we put out a CD, maybe. We did put out a CD, but you can't get it online anywhere. That was kind of before internet and social media. But my other more recent ska punk kind of band was called Operation Hazel, and we have a Facebook page, and if you scroll down the feed, you'll see a link to download our CD.
Okay, nice. I remember Operation Hazel. You guys opened up for Daycare Swindlers a couple times, didn't you?
Yeah, we used to play with the Swindlers a lot.
Yeah, and the Pie Tasters too, right?
Yeah, I think we did open for the Pie Tasters one time. We played with a whole bunch of bands too. I remember when we opened for the Misfits. That's probably our biggest band we've opened for. We played with lots of punk bands, the Dickies, DI, all kinds of bands.
Why do you think that you gravitated towards punk and ska to that whole scene? What is it about it that you just, were drawn to?
Because I'm a hyperactive ADHD kid.
You like to get in the mosh pit?
Oh yeah, I was wild when I was younger. I had a big old mohawk, and I would do anything or drink anything or eat anything or just I didn't even care. It was wild. I'm lucky to still be here. So I'm trying to filter out some stuff because I'm
glad you're still here.
Family's gonna watch this.
Well, I mean, you can, that's up to you. If you want to keep it that way, we can keep it that way. I'll put it this way, plenty of my interviews that I've put viewer discretion advised at the beginning. It's all about how you want to present yourself. If you want to go there, you're welcome to. If not, don't worry about it. We can move on.
Well, I've been 6 years sober now, so wood turning has been a big thing that helped me with that too. So, I'm trying to put some of that craziness behind me and find better ways to express that.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're finding a great way to express it. I want to know what you have coming up, that you're going to have a few shows coming up, right?
Yeah, I know my soonest event will be the little Arts and Crafts Festival. I believe it's April 30th in downtown Sperryville, right on the main street there, and then June 25th, I believe, I'll be at Revelation Vineyards in Madison. And then sometime in August, I believe, I'm going to have a 3-month exhibition at the Gay Street Gallery in Little Washington. So I'll have some really nice pieces there.
Okay.
So one thing that's pretty neat, I like to incorporate old skateboards into a lot of my work, but skateboards are curved and hard to work with, and there's not much usable material. So I actually got hold of a skateboard manufacturer and had them start making me flat skateboard decks. I like the colored plies in them. So this is pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Another thing I like to use is this cool new material I just found. So this is 25 years worth of graffiti on a wall on a skate park in Seattle. And they call it graphite, but not like the pencil stuff. So this is 1,000 artists must have contributed to this over 20 years. So that's a really cool material to use for inlays.
That's a piece of history right there.
Right here. This is a cool Banksia pod from Australia. Big giant prawns grow out of this. This is like a seed pod.
How would you use that? Or how do you plan on using that?
So I've turned some vases out of these is one thing you can do. Or like you can fill all the holes with epoxy or something, and you could turn anything out of it, a small pepper grinder or something maybe. Something like that. Let's find something really cool. Here's a good one, if I can do this without pulling everything down. All right.
Sure.
So this is totally awesome. If I didn't tell you what it was, probably wouldn't look like anything to you. This is just some oak. There's a whole box of it here. But what makes that cool is these certificates of authenticity, because this is the tree from the movie The Shawshank Redemption.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? How did you get that?
So after I started doing that project for the Historical Society, I got interested in finding other historical wood. So I joined a group of people who buy and trade historical wood, and I befriended a guy named Dan Dees who lives where they filmed the movie. One cool little fact is that the tree at the end of the movie where he goes and digs up that little box, it's along the stone wall there. Hollywood actually came in and built that stone wall just for the movie, and then they removed it after the movie. And then, so at some point, this tree was struck by lightning, and half of it went down, and that's what I have, the wood from that. But recently, in the past few years, the rest of the tree has come down now.
What other kind of historical items do you have? That's amazing. I love that. That's such a cool connection to have to history, and then bring it into your work.
I don't know if I want to try to do something with this, but part of me feels bad. This is a 360 million year old scale tree fossil. So definitely wanted to carve something cool out of that. 360 million years old.
But you also like want to leave it intact at the same time.
Yeah, you better not mess it up. It waited that long for you to do something to it. That's a lot of pressure. What else is cool?
I'm sure but you don't make mess ups though, right? Like you just repurpose it.
Exactly. I mean, it's all wood. It's just that's really old wood. Here's some not as old wood. So this stuff I got directly from the Ukraine, I guess. And this is oak, but it's turned black from being in the bottom of a peat moss bog somewhere in Ukraine. And it's in its earliest stages of fossilization. So I guess it's the carbon building up in it or hardening or whatever it does that makes it turn black. This was carbon dated to be 7,500 years old. So it's pretty interesting. This will make a nice knife handle or something.
You've become
for somebody.
Quite the archivist.
Yeah, I have a lot of wood. I wish I could take this camera outside and show you around.
What kind of different materials do you use for inlaying in your pieces? I know you, in the little egg cup, you had turquoise. What other types of material do you use?
All kinds of stuff. Brass or aluminum. I have, what do we have? I have a whole little bunch of jars here. So this is all stuff I use. I have some bamboo coral and more turquoise and sometimes quartz, different colored glitter. All right. I think we're having technical difficulties. I also like to use mica powder. So.
Oh, the sparkly stuff.
This is yeah, so people use this to make makeup and other stuff, but I like to use it and mix it in with some super glue or epoxy resin.
And you have all this like perfectly categorized, right? You know exactly where everything is. It's perfectly organized.
Oh yeah, this is like the Smithsonian up in here.
Okay, so if people need to get in touch with you, they're going to go to your Instagram, right? They're going to go to
yeah, Jason Goldman Wood Art.
Repeat that for us one more time.
Jason Goldman
Wood Art. And at Jason Goldman Wood Art?
Yeah,
okay.
It's all one word, Jason Goldman Wood Art.
And then your email again, so if anybody wants to
yeah, that's Jason Goldman Wood Art at Gmail.
Okay. Awesome. But if they want to, like, basically your gallery online is your Instagram. So people should definitely go there and follow you if they want to check out what you're up to.
Yes, definitely. I have high hopes for maybe doing a YouTube channel one day or having a .com real website. But in the meantime, I really like Instagram. It's basically the easiest format for me to use where I can just directly display my art right there and you can get hold of me. I try to upload every week.
Do you ever sell anything on Etsy?
No, so I've always heard stories that they take a pretty hefty commission and I've never really needed them. I've never had a problem just selling through Instagram, through people directly contacting me.
Well, that sounds like the way to go then. Just go direct. Don't don't pay anybody to sell your stuff.
Yeah, people think I'm expensive enough as it is. So if I had to add Etsy fees on there, I'd be out of business.
Are you expensive?
What is expensive? By the time I've saved a piece of wood for 3 or 4 years, drug it around all over the place, and then cut it, and then, worked it, put, 5 or 6 hours into just working it. Sometimes a large bowl can be upwards of $200 to $300. But you're paying for my time.
They should be in the thousands. Come on.
I'm working on it. I have $1,000 piece.
After your debut at the Gay Street Gallery.
Exactly. Actually, one of my cloud vases, went for more than that. So that was pretty exciting. But it was worth it after you spend weeks working on something.
Have you thought about doing like an auction?
That's a good idea. No, that would be interesting. Okay, so actually when the Historical Society stopped selling stuff in the gift shop, I guess they did 10 of my pieces on an online auction, and they all went for over $300 a piece. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, do something like that again and like start the price like where you would want it, what you would charge for it, and then people just drive it up.
Yeah. Getting myself a bonus.
Well, you really put like your heart and soul into this work. You can tell when you look at it, and from talking to you and, visiting your shop and what you're into, like it's not just you're like cranking them out. They're not a dime a dozen.
No, it's definitely a labor of love, and it at times consumes me. I don't know how to really have a conversation with people about normal things anymore. It's mostly either wood, skateboarding, or punk rock.
So you have a very select group of people then that will like tolerate talking to you.
Yes, my little niche crew, yeah.
Yeah, well, you got to be cool enough to be able to talk to Jason. So I'm glad that I got to talk to you, that we get a window into your world.
Oh, it's an honor to be able to be here with you. We've been talking about this for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. Yeah, it's it made it a lot easier to be able to do it virtually, to be completely honest. Like, it's hard to meet up with people as much as I want to. It's hard. And then with COVID and all of those, concerns, it's like, and that's everybody's doing this virtually anyways.
Yeah, and the new video part of it is really awesome too, because it wouldn't have been very fun for me to try to just describe a bowl gouge to somebody over the radio.
No, I would have made you talk about yourself more.
Oh, well, I have to stay, somewhat mysterious.
I can tell. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, Jason. Really appreciate having you. Thank you, Levi, for bringing in the big tech.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. Maybe we can do a part 2 sometime.
Yes, absolutely. Let's definitely do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, and have a good night.
Thank you. You too, Jason. Take care.
Take care.